Welcome to London Property News Bulletin. Every week, we break down the key headlines and the wider news that could influence the market, keeping you informed and confident in your decisions. Here is what you need to know this week.
The Housing Minister, Matthew Pennycook, has said London house prices may need to fall as more homes are built. He argues that developers should compete on how many homes they deliver, not on buying expensive land and sitting on it. Labour believes some land in London was bought at peak prices and is now blocking development. As supply increases, prices are expected to level out first and then possibly fall gradually over time to improve affordability. The government is preparing a new housing strategy with a bigger role for the state and new development models, saying the private market alone won't build enough homes. However, the reality in London is the opposite. New housing starts have fallen to their lowest level in years. A report by the Centre for Policy Studies blames high build costs, slow planning, tougher safety rules, including 2 staircases for tall buildings, and a new safety regulator that rejects most applications and causes long delays. The report also shows most homes completed recently were approved years ago under Boris Johnson, highlighting how sharply building has slowed under Sadiq Khan. Bottom line, ministers are talking about lower prices through more supply, but right now London simply isn't building enough homes for that to happen. Sir Keir Starmer pushed ahead with plans to cap ground rents at £250 a year, despite repeated warnings from Chancellor Rachel Reeves, highlighting growing tension between No 10 and No 11. Reeves is reported to have written to the Prime Minister 3 times, concerned about the impact on pension funds and investors with freehold exposure. Starmer announced the policy publicly last week, framing it as good news for homeowners. The reforms would also ban new leasehold flats and reduce ground rents to a peppercorn after 40 years, benefiting an estimated 900,000 leaseholders during this Parliament. Sources suggest the relationship between Starmer and Reeves has deteriorated sharply, with some describing it as close to breaking point. Reeves's absence from a key China trade visit added to speculation about her reduced influence. Industry groups have strongly criticised the policy. The Residential Freehold Association warned it could undermine property rights and cost billions in compensation, while insurers said it risks damaging investor confidence. Around £15 billion of pension and insurance money is invested in freeholds. Politically, Starmer may have felt boxed in. Angela Rayner had publicly warned that failing to cap ground rents would alienate lower-income households and risk a backbench rebellion. Despite Treasury concerns, the government is pressing ahead with legislation expected to take effect from 2028. The Renters' Rights Act 2025, which abolishes fixed-term tenancies from May 2026, has an unintended tax consequence. Many ordinary renters will face annual stamp duty SDLT calculations and filing obligations, often for very small tax amounts. Because tenancies will become open-ended, periodic, stamp duty rules treat them as a growing lease. Each year the tenant stays, the rent must be reassessed using a net present value calculation. Once cumulative rent exceeds £125,000, SDLT becomes payable and a return must be filed every year thereafter. Missing a filing triggers automatic penalties, £100, rising to £200. Key impacts. Around 150,000 households are expected to face SDLT filing within 3 years, rising to 330,000 over time. Tax bills are usually tiny, often £10, £100, but the administrative burden is disproportionate. High-risk cases include student HMOs with joint tenancies, where SDLT could arise within just a couple of years. Ordinary renters in London could be caught after 3-6 years, sooner in higher rent areas. The issue was not addressed in the Act's impact assessment and appears unintended. The government response restates existing rules, but does not deal with the scale of the problem created by making periodic tenancies the default. Proposed fix: change the law so SDLT filing is only triggered once the actual tax due reaches £5,000. This would remove the burden for almost all tenants. Preserve tax on genuinely high-value lettings. Avoid unnecessary costs for tenants and HMRC. Bottom line, without reform, a tenant-friendly law risks creating a widespread, low-value, high-friction tax trap for renters across England. London's super prime market is entering 2026 inches, a calmer, more disciplined phase. Buyers remain active, but are highly selective, prioritizing quality, value, and long-term appeal over speed or speculation. Experts from Maskell's, Broadfield and Coutts agree the market is defined by a flight to best-in-class homes. Well-priced, exceptional properties attract interest, while ambitious pricing struggles. Buyers are more analytical, undertaking deeper due diligence, and frothy valuations are largely gone. Prices remain well below peak levels, creating quiet value opportunities rather than distress. Knightsbridge and Belgravia are around 30% off peak, Chelsea, C, 20%, with average discounts above 10%. This is drawing long-term, internationally mobile buyers back in as fiscal clarity improves. What buyers want has also shifted. Light, ceiling height, privacy, security, strong building management, energy efficiency, and wellness now matter as much as size. Turnkey homes are favoured, while poor EPC ratings, weak layouts, leasehold complications, and planning constraints are key red flags. Demand will concentrate in proven prime neighbourhoods: Mayfair, Belgravia, Kensington Palace Gardens, Chelsea, Notting Hill, St John's Wood, and Regent's Park, provided properties meet exacting standards. Overall, 2026 rewards patience, preparation, and precision. The market isn't rushing, but for buyers who focus on fundamentals, London remains quietly compelling. The Open Property Data Association, OPDA, is urging mortgage brokers to prepare for a shift to a smart property data market. This follows the launch of a government-backed Smart Property Data Trust Framework sandbox, designed to test how property data can be securely shared and reused across the industry. The 12-month project is funded by a £742,700 Regulators Pioneer Fund award and is being delivered by the Council for Licensed Conveyancers alongside Opta, with support from Radium and oversight from the Digital Property Market Steering Group. The sandbox lets accredited parties, agents, conveyancers, lenders, brokers, and tech firms trial secure, standardized data sharing. Opta is encouraging brokers to get involved, review how they currently handle property data, and consider replacing manual, document-based processes with data-driven ones. OPDA Chair Maria Harris says this is a practical step from digitization to trusted, smart data, and early engagement will help firms prepare for a more efficient, transparent property market.
That wraps this week's London Property News Bulletin. Thank you for listening. If something caught your attention or you need support navigating the impact of the news, then please reach out to us. We're here to guide you. If this was useful, do pass it on to someone who also follows the market, and don't forget to subscribe to stay one step ahead.